The auditorium smelled like fresh coffee and pressed cotton, the particular calm of a room that knows exactly what's about to happen and has done it 1,000 times before. Commander Elena Reyes stood near the side entrance in her dress blues. Watching her mother work the reception crowd like it was a stage she'd been waiting her whole life to stand on. He's basically the reason that unit runs. Carol was telling a stranger near the coffee table, gesturing toward Marcus, who stood a little straighter at the mention. Security clearance, high-pressure work. You should hear his stories. The stranger, a lieutenant commander Elena recognized from logistics, nodded politely and glanced her way. Elena looked down at her program instead. Her mother had never asked what Elena did. Not really. Somewhere along the way, she works with the Navy had calcified into a placeholder, the kind of sentence you say when you don't want to admit you never followed up. Marcus found her by the coat check. He'd put on a blazer that didn't quite fit, the collar a size too big for his neck. "Big day for you, huh?" he said, and there was something underneath it, some old resentment doing math it had done many times before. "It's a ceremony," Elena said, "nothing dramatic. Mom's telling everyone about my job again." He laughed, but it didn't reach anywhere close to his eyes. "Funny how nobody ever asks about yours. I don't mind, that's the problem." He stepped closer, voice dropping so only she could hear it. "You never make them ask, you just disappear into whatever this is." He gestured vaguely at her uniform, at the room at 13 years of her life. "You're not even really in anything. Are you? You just show up to these things." She didn't answer. She'd stopped needing to, years ago, somewhere around her second deployment, when she'd finally understood that some people can't see a thing until it's pointed at them directly. And even then, sometimes they look away. He caught her arm as she turned toward the seating chart, not hard, but enough. "You're not even supposed to be up front. This isn't your show. It's literally my ceremony, Marcus." The shove was small. A single hand against her shoulder, more instinct than intention. The kind of thing that happens when a person runs out of words and reaches for something older and uglier instead. She stumbled half a step into the aisle rope. A woman nearby turned, startled, then looked away fast. The particular tact of someone who doesn't want to be the one who saw it. Marcus's face did something complicated. Not triumph. Something closer to recognizing, mid-motion, exactly what he'd just done, and having no idea how to undo it. Elena straightened her jacket. "Let's sit down," she said quietly, and that was all. Her mother hadn't seen it. Carol was already moving toward the front row, scanning for a program with her son's name on it, though of course there wasn't one. The ceremony opened the way these things always do. The color guard, the invocation, a captain reading names from a citation list in a voice trained for exactly this. Elena sat 3 rows back from where her family had settled, in the section reserved for those being recognized, and she felt her mother's eyes find her there with something like confusion, as if the seating chart itself were a small betrayal. Commander Reyes has spent the past decade in operational planning roles across 2 theater commands. The captain read, culminating in her current position as senior liaison for interagency coordination. It wasn't a dramatic sentence. It wasn't meant to be. But Elena watched, from the corner of her eye, as the officer beside her mother leaned over and said something low, and Carol's face shifted just slightly. The way a person's face shifts when a sentence they've been telling themselves quietly stops fitting the room they're in. Master Chief Petty Officer Alvarez took the podium next, and his voice had the particular flatness of a man who'd said hard things to easy rooms before and didn't flinch from it. "Commander Reyes, if you'd come forward." Alina rose. Behind her, without announcement, without instruction, nearly 400 people rose with her. The standard courtesy extended to any officer called forward for citation, a piece of protocol so routine to the room that nobody there thought twice about it. Her mother did not know it was routine. Her mother watched 400 people stand for her daughter and had no framework, in that moment, for what she was seeing. Rear Admiral Whitfield stepped to the podium then, and read the record aloud. Dates, assignments, a citation for sustained performance under classified operational conditions Elena had never once described to her family. Because they had never once asked in a way that suggested they wanted the real answer. It wasn't a speech built to humble anyone. It was just true, spoken plainly, in a room built for plain truths. Elena didn't look at her mother's face while it happened. She didn't need to. She could feel the shape of the silence 3 rows back, could imagine Marcus staring at his shoes. And she let the moment be exactly what it was. Not a victory, not a correction delivered with teeth, just a fact finally landing in a place it had always belonged. Afterward, in the parking lot, Carol found her near the car, purse held with both hands like something she needed to hold on to. "I didn't know," she said, "about any of it. I know. Why didn't you tell us?" Elena thought about 13 years of half-finished sentences, of she does paperwork mostly, of 100 small moments where the door had been open and no one had walked through it. "I did," she said. "You just weren't in the room for it." Marcus stood a few feet back, hands in his pockets, saying nothing, and Elena let that silence stand too. Some things didn't need to be resolved to be understood. She got in the car. Somewhere behind her, the ceremony crowd was still dispersing, 400 people who'd known, without being told exactly who she was.